Welcome, everybody, to Write Better Together. Hey, everybody, I'm John Myers. Hey, look, everybody. How many times can I say everybody? It's Emily Brooks.
Hello, John Myers.
Why did I say everybody so many times?
Because everybody's important.
Oh, cool. Audience is important. That's what our future guest is going to tell us in a couple minutes. Hey, what are we talking about today?
Well, we have quite the list.
Yes.
And quite the guest, Sheila Gunlock, playwright, actress, children's book author, helper of AC. She talks about what drives her. So
Yes.
the topic today is what drives you, and what is it that really motivates you to create?
I like that you put Helper of AC over Groovy Granny. That's what she's known for. Her famous Groovy Granny.
I said actress.
True. No, that's true. They own the company. She's not just the helper. She's the owner of the HVAC company.
Nice.
Yum. Okay. What else?
We'll get to her bio later, but that's what we're talking about today. We are going to have listener responses. We're going to have a call to action.
Oh.
We're going to play Hey John Myers, or not play Hey John Myers. I guess it's kind of a game where I teach John Myers something. And then we're going to play a silly game.
Oh my goodness. We are.
Okay. If it's that door game again.
No, it's not.
But first, how did you get out of your bubble?
Well, I went from my undisclosed location to Chicago, which required driving across Indiana. I don't think we've talked about it on this show before, but I'm a germaphobe. No, we have talked about that. I'm also a giant Speedway gas station fan, and that's where I do all my gas stationing. However, as I was driving across Indiana, I was disloyal to Speedway and I went to Family Express.
Oh my god.
And at Family Express, for every $25 you spend, you get 10 cents off a gallon. If you spend whatever, $7, I don't really know how it works, but you get 3 cents off or whatever. I ate 11 out of 12 meals at Family Express.
Oh my goodness.
Mostly bacon cheeseburgers.
Oh my goodness.
The one meal I didn't, I had pizza. and other thing, but I had breakfast, whatever breakfast. At the end of 4 days, 52 cents off a gallon. I am the king of getting the cents off the gallon. What does this have to do with go ahead, respond to that.
I just hope you came home and ate lots of vegetables. That's all.
I had fried green beans, not from there, from somewhere else.
Fried green beans.
So what does that have to do with you being a germaphobe, John Myers? I'll tell you. The owner of Family Express is apparently also a germaphobe, but they're the cleanest, most spotless, Disney World cleanest gas stations in the world. And they have a kitchen in the middle, like, so everything's fresh. So it might as well be fast food, right? Because it's cheeseburgers fresh, the pizza's fresh, everything's fresh. But I want to show you some things. They think, I love that. Remember those? Clean your hands, a big giant 5-gallon jug of hand sanitizer at the door. They still have the little blue papers to open every door with. So like you can wash your hands with the hand sanitizer. You can open the door with you don't have to touch the door. Everything's touchless. You can make your espresso. You can make your espresso with a blue tissue. You never have to touch it. Not only do you never have to touch it, they don't want you to touch it. It literally says here, again, I'll put the sign up there. Please use a tissue. Avoid directly touching hard surfaces and help minimize the spread. Yes, it's 2025.
Wow.
And I was in heaven. Last but not least, I'm not going to show you a picture of the toilet. However, I am going to show you the picture of the diagram on how to use it. There's a little sanitizing spray thing that comes out of the side of it to like spray away all the germs from everywhere. They were the cleanest bathrooms ever. But who doesn't need a bathroom that cleans itself? That was amazing. And
That's
52
great.
cents off a gallon.
That's great.
I know. I was so happy. I almost didn't come home. I just was gonna stay there and be in the clean convenience store. I'd have weighed 4,000 million pounds because I'd ate double cheeseburgers, double bacon cheeseburgers
Oh my
for the rest of
gosh.
my life. How'd you get out of your bubble? And were you as clean as I was?
Um, I have decided to extend. Okay, this is kind of a long story. Decided to extend the store on my website.
Yes.
My website is getting out of its bubble.
Yes.
Um, Kirsten Modulin is part of the inspiration for this.
Yes.
So there's two things. One, I announced that I'm going to do a prayer devotional.
I was gonna say I saw that one, so I know about that one.
It's not a full-length book. It is like a workbook. It's not even really so okay, this is part of why I'm bringing this up because what
Yes.
would you call this? It's not really devotional because I think of devotional as like a daily reading. It's
Yes.
more of like a Christian lifestyle thing, but it's short. It's not like this long, full-length book. It would be like I think right now I'm planning it to be 9 short chapters.
I would do 30 and call it a monthly devotional. Or I would do 7 and call it a weekly devotional.
But they're not really devotional formatted. Like a devotional is like, here's something to think about today with a scripture verse, and this is more like guidance.
Okay.
I'm saying mine's a more like my blog, like a blog. Each chapter is almost like a blog post with like, here's kind of guidance on this issue and ways to think about it, and then maybe end with like a challenge.
Are there scriptures in the guidance thing?
Yeah.
Okay. I think it's a devotional. No, but you're right. It will if you call it a devotional, people will expect a traditional devotional. So
Right, like a daily short, like one-page reading, and it's more of not.
right. Let me ask you where this idea came from besides Kirsten Modulin and why did like the Holy Spirit hit you in a 2x4 head?
So here's why, and then I'm gonna explain another thing that I'm doing. Um, uh, the why is that I realized I have written 167 blog posts, and a lot of them I've briefly covered topics that I want to go deeper into, and I've written at least 5 blog posts about prayer.
Right.
And I just did one on prayer that reminded me of that.
Right.
And I thought, I have the content to turn this into a book if I cut out the like here's what's going on in my life moments in the blog post and then go deeper into the things, the actual like guidance and challenge part. um and so I'm basically like revising those to be into like this. It's like a download.
And then why is
I
it
don't
only
even know if I would
9?
call it a book as much as it's a download to help you with prayer.
Okay. So it's a course.
Sort of like a written course.
Yeah, I would call that a course. There are short courses
Like
and
I know like when I look up, yes, exactly. Like when I look up like things to put on your blog, they're like digital products, digital downloads. So it's not really a book. It's like
it's
a
a course. I would call it a course now that I understand it. Why 9? Where'd the 9 come from?
because those were the most important like prayer related things that I had.
So of the 180 blog posts, there were 9
There
areas of
were
prayer.
there were maybe 5 or 6. But then as I was outlining it, I came up with a couple more.
Wow. You are K-Mod. E-Brew.
So that's the first thing. The other thing is going to be weird.
As if the first one was easy to explain.
So the second one is weird because of how it came about.
Okay.
The most popular post on my blog
Yes.
is how to write physical descriptions of women the right way. Did not expect this. Like, I just wrote that out of the blue because I was thinking about it and I wrote a post about it, and it gets views every day. And but I'm not really fully answering that question. And I thought if people are asking that question, then they want more and I can give them more. And so I have written a more thorough guide for that I can put in my store. So that again is it's a guide, it's like a little download, it's only a couple pages, but it goes deeper than the blog post does. I wouldn't have normally included something like that, but I was like, I'm getting the people are asking the question. If you ask the question on Google, my post comes up at the top. I want to offer, I'm trying to think like the see need fill a need, right?
Right.
Somebody's looking for this. Let's give it to them.
Wow, that's really cool. K-Mod, you rubbed off on her.
There you go. So, and I've actually got more ideas as well. I've got several resources that I want to include on my page for people because I want to go deeper um, into because a lot of my times my blogs will vary in depth, um, but I want to like take these and just go even deeper into them and
You're
offer
you're
that to people.
you're just so thorough in a short amount of time because you're so fast.
Because I am writing a book right now.
I
If
know.
you didn't know, I'm writing the book on nourishment, and
I know.
so that's my book. That these are just additional things I can
Okay.
offer. I don't know what the feeling is, but it's a very
No, but
maybe it's third trimester. It's just
trust
like
me, I've noticed the hyper focus
I have
on.
had very hyper focused days, and I've actually had to force myself to like get up, eat, go for like move, like get out of my chair, and yeah. I
Yep.
went for a walk yesterday, which is how I actually got out of my bubble, but I kept stopping to write notes because my mind was just spinning.
Yeah, you like I couldn't keep up, man. Which it's happened before, like when we were writing the first book, but
It comes and goes because
I
other
couldn't
other
keep
times
up.
I am like I can't think about anything.
Now you can.
Yeah.
That's good.
So we have listener responses. Speaking of KMod, when we shared our episode of Kirsten Modlin, and we had her call to action was make a list of 50 things you want to do in the next year. And Emily Tucker Rhinelander, or Miley as we know her, says, Kirsten Modulin and the Write Better Together podcast shot me out of my bubble. I have accepted the challenge from Kirsten Modulin. I have started my 50 novel ideas and on my phone, so they will be with me. I have 16 plot ideas since the broadcast. Look out, Amazon, here I come.
That so and they're on her phone like Kmod does. And so at some point when she gets to 50, she can just scroll through all these ideas that I need to start that. That woman is changing everybody's lives.
I know.
That's I think that's great that she turned 50 things to do or 50 ideas to 50 novel ideas.
Yeah.
If
Yeah, I
she
didn't expect that, but it makes sense because, it's the 50, like, Kirsten Modulin just finished her 50th novel, so get those ideas rolling.
I got my I have my 10, you already know about my top 10 system. The next 10
Mhm.
things I'm going to write. I'm not going more than 10, sorry.
Yeah.
It's got to make the top 10. All right, before you introduce Sheila, I forgot the most important picture from the trip. I saw a giant banana truck.
Oh my god,
That's all.
a
There,
giant banana.
that was my. You said I needed some fruits and vegetables on the trip.
Oh my goodness.
That was it right there.
Great. So, Sheila, let me tell you about Sheila. So, Sheila Gunlock is a multi talented storyteller who has been captivating audiences since 1973. Sheila is an award winning author, actor, director, and speaker with over 40 characters and 60 custom puppet scripts performed worldwide. Hailing from historic Route 66 in Joplin, Missouri, Sheila and her husband recently celebrated 40 years of wedded bliss and have
Oh,
raised four wonderful sons and now find immense joy in in spoiling their 9 grandchildren.
oh my goodness.
Oh man, my parents are almost caught up. Almost. Her latest creation, now an Amazon bestseller, Groovy Granny is a superhero grandmother battling the grub bug gang, a fun and imaginative way to address food allergies and sensitivities. A cause close to her heart since 1991 with the birth of her fourth son. His lactose sensitivity sent her on this lifelong trek through discovery and better health. So, we're thrilled to talk about her and her journey. So, here's our conversation with Sheila Gunlock.
And we're back. Hey, everybody. I'm still John Myers. Look, everybody. It's still Emily Brooks.
Hello, John Myers, and hey, look, everybody, it's Sheila Gunlock.
Oh my goodness, Sheila,
Hello.
where'd you come from?
Welcome.
Thank you.
I haven't seen you since Bob and Margie's rekindling of their marriage.
Oh,
That was really sweet.
Were
so
you
sweet.
were you one of the people that forced me to eat Brussels sprouts? I don't remember.
No, I just told you they were fabulous.
Oh, okay.
They are fabulous. I agree.
My first and I ate two, Emily. My first and
Wow.
second Brussels sprout. So where are you, Sheila? Where in the world are you if we were to put a pin on the map?
Joplin, Missouri.
Oh my goodness, Missouri. You're our first Missourian, I
Good.
think. I don't know.
I like your brick background as well. Is that like painted brick?
Yeah,
That's
it
really
is.
cool. I
Thanks.
like it.
If you don't eat your
We had a
meat, you
fire.
can't have your dessert. Can't
Yeah.
have your pudding if you don't eat your meat. That's what that wall says to me.
Why?
Oh no. That's a song, man. Another brick in the wall.
Oh,
Whoa. Different cultural inventories.
Totally different.
It's so funny.
Sheila, what drives you besides a car, besides your driver?
helping people. I love people. I love being around people. I'm an introverted extrovert, and
Oh.
Oh,
yes,
explain.
I love being in a crowd. I love the activity. I love connecting. Um, but I'm shy, and so unless I've got a purpose or a costume on, then
Mm.
I kind of withdraw.
Tell the people what, well, first of all, okay. Tell the people what costume that you're talking about. But first of all, so I introduced Emily to Sheila. That was the first at last year's WriterCon. Uh, you had probably already met people because you got there the night before when I did, Emily. But I was just standing there talking to Sheila, and I had not seen Emily yet. And here came Emily, and I'm like, "Come meet Sheila." And did you think she was shy at the time, Emily?
No,
Yeah, I didn't.
I didn't think I didn't think so.
No.
Well, join us because I have a new.
So, uh, t- so tell like how does that manifest itself in what you do and like you said, unless you had a costume on? Explain that to our
Well,
viewers.
I do heating and air. That's my day job. And
Oh,
with that, it's taking care of people. We want to make sure that your air is good and that you're comfortable and your climate is good. And we have a lot of them that have health issues down in this area. So there's COPD as well as asthma and allergies, and then there's just, emphysema, leukemia, some of those things. And so we try to take care of our people. And that's just part of who I am because I was a mom. Well, I still am a mom of four. I have four sons. They're all grown up, and I have 9 grandkids, and I just take care of people. I have a customer that I've taken care of her for about 10 years with her health issues. And so when I wrote the Groovy Granny books, the Growing Up Great was my first one. And those, I was going into schools, into elementary schools, and I dress up, and I'm either Groovy Granny the cook, or I'm Groovy Granny the adventurer, or just different things, whatever fit their character builder of the month. So that went in that first book. The second book is the food allergy book. So I go in with a lab coat and the big glasses and the gloves. And the last one we did on December 13th, I was dressed up for the day. We did 7 classes, 7 hours straight. And we talked about food allergies. We talked about sensitivities. Because if we can make people aware, we can help them with their health. And that's what I care about, is I want people healthy, happy, and whole. If I could be a superhero, I would heal people.
The lab coat character have a name, or is that Groovy Granny just with a lab coat on? Or is it a
That's
separate
just
character?
Groovy Granny. She's in her kitchen and she's fighting the grub bugs and their food sensitivities like gluten and lactose and shellfish. And they come up with things that will make the grub bug lured in so they can capture them, and then they lock them away.
Okay, so
And we have
lab
some.
coat,
Mhm.
adventurer. What was the other one? The other persona Groovy Granny takes on?
Oh, well, there's a hillbilly woman that she does
Oh my
with some
goodness.
missing teeth. Yeah.
How is she so multifaceted? Where did all this come from?
Years of being on stage.
Years of being on stage doing what?
Well, I started in 3rd grade, and
Oh
I've
my
always been a
goodness.
storyteller.
Wow.
And so my first play was 3rd grade, and I was the lead role. I was the narrator. And it just progressed from there to competitions in high school and college. And my major was theater, secondary education, and just kept moving right along. I've done community theater and some commercials, and I did one movie called Tough Choices, and it's on the internet now.
As yourself or as Groovy
Just as
Granny?
myself, yeah. A much younger me.
Oh.
So what can I ask? Um, I know you said you started in 3rd grade, so it may be hard to look back, but when you say what drives you is helping people, what um, theater is so specific, and what do you think about that like really lit you up that you like this became a lifelong thing?
Well, it was more like the teaching side of it, because that's still helping people. Seeing people overcome their shyness, seeing people become more fulfilled. And as a kid, you don't think about that. But there was a little girl in our class, and she didn't speak. And she and I sat next to each other because I talked all the time. And she didn't go out on recess, and I wasn't allowed to go out on recess because I talked too much. And so I would just talk to her, even though she didn't answer me. And one day I had dropped one of our snacks, which was some grapes. And that was the first time she spoke, when she said, "You dropped your grape." And the teacher started crying. I had no idea what was going on. Okay, I'll pick it up and I'll eat it. 3-second rule, don't care. And she talked to me after that, and then continued to talk. And she ended up being in the play. And she didn't have any lines, but here she was on stage. And it was huge for her family. And there was just something in that little girl mind of mine that said, this can make a difference. I've been part of the clowning ministry, and I've done quite a bit of stage work that way. And in college, we did clowning for community events, and we went to nursing homes, and it's fulfilling. I mean, to bring joy, to bring happiness to people.
I've so many thoughts. But the last thing you said reminded me that I just listened to a podcast where they said that a clown being present at a hospital helps kids recover better. I thought that was fascinating. And then the other thing is what you're describing. You remind me a lot of there was this woman at my church who, when I was a kid, taught puppetry at the church, and we did puppet shows, and it was like a puppet ministry.
Yeah.
And she drew me out of my bubble in so many ways because I felt comfortable being behind, whatever it was, and
Oh,
just
yeah.
having my hands up here covered by the puppet. And it was a way because I didn't do any other drama besides that, but it definitely drew me out of my bubble and it made me more comfortable. And so I think that's great. It's a great way to help people.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, look at the ventriloquist. Look at Darcy. I mean, what she's done with her little critters, her rabbit, and all that. Ventriloquism is an excellent way to communicate what you feel and what you think because they're looking at the puppet or the mannequin and they're not focused on you, but they're hearing the words. And that's what drama does. That's why
Mhm.
drama therapy is good. That's why play therapy is good because they become something that they're not.
Are you coming
Are you
out as
coming
a
out as a ventriloquist?
ventriloquist? Are you telling
No,
us you're a ventriloquist
no, no.
secretly?
I always wanted to be, but no.
There's still time. There's still time.
Yeah, I can. I don't think so. Well, no.
That was
When
pretty
that
good. That was
yeah,
pretty good.
I thought
It's
it
an
was.
impressive skill for sure.
When when that girl spoke for the first time
Yeah,
and did it turn into you throwing grapes everywhere? No, I'm kidding.
no.
The and you saw the impact of the teacher crying. You initially said 30-second rule and I'm going to eat it, right? But like when did it sink in what you had done? Like
I
when
don't
you
think
saw
it really did. Until you look back on memories as you get older. And then that's when you start putting pieces together. And I had, it was as a teacher. I
Mm.
had
Ah,
another student that was that way. In my
yeah.
speech class, the rule was the only way to pass my class was to encourage and applause when the kids were done giving their speech. Didn't matter how long it was, whether they made all of the points. If the audience did not support them, the audience failed. Because we had to change that point of view and that perspective. It wasn't the speaker that failed, it was the audience to support, especially in Speech 101. And so I was middle school that year teaching, and I had one student that all he could do was stand in the front. And for him to walk up to the front and stand there was huge for him. And he did it for the full 60 seconds. The second time he got up there, he said his name. The third time he got up there, he gave 2 or 3 more sentences. And by the end of the first semester, he was ready to do a 3-minute presentation. Everyone else was doing 10 minutes, but he was ready for his 3. The second semester, he was supposed to give a 10-minute presentation on Wrigley Field, and it turned out 40 minutes long. He came in the baseball jersey. He had collected paraphernalia stuff, the gloves, the balls, the bats. He had made a diorama of the stadium itself. It was phenomenal. Come to
That's
find out,
great.
his mom said he was a foster child in their home, and they couldn't believe how he came out of his shell. So it was more than just giving a speech. And that's why, for me, it was so significant. The audience supports the speaker.
Mm.
That's great.
I love that so much. And just allowing him to take those baby steps towards so I grew up with horses, and there's these videos that we used to watch on like how to train your horses and bond with them, and there was always a therapist on there for horse related therapy, and
Yeah.
she I don't know if she was a therapist, but it was something like that. And she described people being so afraid to be near a horse, and so she had a thing called move closer, stay longer. And it's each time it was exactly what you just described. Like each time you move a little closer, you stay a little longer. And then you retreat, you evaluate, and you're like, oh, I'm still okay. And then next time you move a little closer, stay a little longer.
Think about it when it was your first speech, the first time you had to get in front of anybody, the first time you did any first thing where people are watching you, all eyes are on you. How did you feel? Terrified.
Yeah.
But what if the audience supported you no matter what you said? How would that encourage you?
So, Sheila is one of the people, one of our students, one of the attendees in our master class to start a new podcast.
Learning to start a new podcast.
Starting to start.
See,
Moving closer.
that's where I'm getting going with this. So tell Emily and John Myers and the audience the difference, why that project fills you with trepidation. I'll say it that way. When it's still an audience like the 3-minute to 10-minute to 40-minute kid with an audience. They're just not in the room. It's an invisible audience. What's it doing to you?
Oh, it's the technical side of it.
Because you're afraid the technology something might go wrong.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It took me a month to figure out how to use this particular program so we could talk.
But you did it.
Technicians.
Yeah, but you did it though. I mean, it's real. I mean, that's the real answer. But you did it. You're talking to us.
Yeah.
So this is one hurdle.
So this is this is your little bit closer to the horse.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
So I don't have to be quite as scared, right?
That's it? Only technology?
Technology is the biggest part. And you want to get content that people want to hear.
So, Emily, tell her the what's the worst thing? What's the worst that can happen thing?
Oh yeah, that's what Lucy V. Hay told us, is to always ask, what's the worst that can happen? And that usually sounds like a terrible thing to ask yourself, because if you're like me, you can come up with some pretty bad stuff. But most of the time with certain things, it's like, well, that really wasn't that bad. Like, what if I record an episode and then find out that it wasn't recording the whole time? I got practice and I'm going to have to record it again, or my mic wasn't on, or we've run into all kinds of stuff. We're recording these episodes, and
even recently weird stuff happens, and we don't know why it happens or how it happens.
Nope.
But 52 Tuesdays in a row, there was an episode up there.
Yep.
No matter what.
It is hard when you have something you really want to do, and then there's that steep learning curve. Because I know for me, that is a point of tension, because I want to be able to just jump in and do something. And I'm like that with gardening. I really my dream is to have a big garden, but the learning curve is so steep and because I haven't done it in so long, and because there are certain things I want to do differently, that it's very intimidating to me. So I totally get that feeling.
Oh yeah. And I admire what you're doing. I mean, I admire you
Thank
guys
you.
doing every week and getting out there and talking about it.
Do you think it has to be perfect like what we talk about in our book? Do you have a thread of I need it to be perfect in you?
Oh, probably. That's why I like rehearsal. You go over it and over it and over it. I love live theater. It's so fun.
I know we didn't do this. A lot of people will record several episodes before they even publish any, because they just are like, oh, it has to be perfect before, and we're going to test it out. And we were like, no, we're just going to publish our very first attempt at an episode
that week.
Yeah.
In our defense, so that's part of the ethos of it, is because we're trying to be vulnerable and we're trying to be authentic, and we want you to see the mistakes.
And we also couldn't, we always say we couldn't do without you. And it's like, we literally can't. We can't record 5 episodes without like any input or anything, you know? We couldn't
Yep.
have started that way.
Okay, so Sheila, when I saw you 3 years ago or 2 years ago, and you hadn't published the plays yet, right?
Right.
Okay, and then because of that, because of the perfectionism thing, do you think that's why?
Well, mostly it was the avenue. I really started working with Chris Maselli,
Okay.
and that really was where I got to more springboard, getting all of those out there. Because I had written them 12 years in a row, and I did it to support the Vacation Bible School curriculum that we used. And so I came up with costumes and set design and lighting and sound. We recorded them. The kids came on and became the characters. So it was this recorded soundtrack and then live performances. And we did all of that. And they were just sitting there. So some of them, I don't even have the scripts. I've had to take the audio that we recorded and transcribe those and put them
Wow.
back into book form. So that's what we did.
So when I saw you, when I walked up to you at WriterCon last year, you were like, "Look what I have," and you fanned them all out, and look, they actually exist now. So
Yeah.
that's where I'm trying to draw a parallel between you had these things that you had to get just right, but then a year later there they were. So what's the difference between that and a podcast? You had to figure out
Ooh,
technology
you're back
around.
to the corner. I see what you're doing here, John Myers.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out how your brain works. That's what I like to do.
Well, one of the years that we were there, you said something to me about why aren't you up there teaching um,
Oh yeah, I did that.
on playwright?
Playwriting.
I was like, me. Well, that's what my college experience is. That's what my stage experience is. I started thinking about all the years I've been on stage, and that was significant because there are a lot of things I love to read, but I need to write what I know. And that was one of the things that you said to me was, why aren't you doing this? And that kind of challenged me to go forward in my playwriting because I wanted to be a novelist because I like to read novels. I like to read children's books, but my children's books all have a purpose and a teaching purpose because I'm the teacher, because I'm the director, because
Mm-hmm.
I write the plays, I tell the kids
Mm-hmm.
what to do. And so it all just kind of fell like a domino effect that I'm a playwright first and foremost. Getting to
So
write the
I
kids' books, I love that.
so in that story, I was the one that dropped the grapes, is what you're saying.
You did, you
I'm
did.
the
And
grape.
I picked
I'm
them
the
up.
I'm the grape dropper, man. Look
You
out.
did, yeah.
Um, I'm putting you on the spot, but do you have? Because I know you're at the heating and air conditioning place. You do have them there where you can hold them up, or we can put them up. We can put them up on the screen if you don't.
Yeah, I don't. I
Yeah,
don't.
we'll put them up on the screen, and they'll be in our show notes and everything like that. So how many different plays are there?
Well, right now there's 3 and they're all on Amazon.
Okay,
Nice.
And I've got them in some local bookstores here now, so that's nice. And I always take
I've,
them with me wherever I go, except for work here.
you don't have customers come in there though that much, right? You're talking customers on the phone and then dispatching your people,
Right,
right?
right,
So
yeah.
yeah.
they don't know they're talking to a clown when they call.
Oh, no. No, I try to keep all that information to myself.
I'm curious. So you were talking about all the different mediums that you've kind of worked in, and the granny character came before the books, correct? Is that what you
Um,
said?
yeah, yeah, because I was going into the local elementary schools, and if they had honesty, integrity, they were doing forgiveness, whatever the character builder of the month was, that's what I would dress up to fit. Sometimes they did one on being content, and I took a travel suitcase and I had all kinds of beach paraphernalia, the beach balls and the rafts and the scuba gear and all that stuff, that Missouri just doesn't have a good place to go scuba diving. So I need to go to the ocean. And Missouri doesn't have a good place to um, see coral reefs. So I have to go to the Gulf. I have to go all these places I had to go because I couldn't be content where I was. And then we had one teacher that came in and started telling about all of the things and the natural resources and the caverns and how you can go on these float trips through the rivers, through the caverns, and different things that are available in Missouri. And so just
That's
showing
so neat.
that being content where you're at. And that's what I love doing. And I went to special ed classes. I went to elementary. We did one, which was probably not really good timing, but we had a tornado in 2011 in Joplin, Missouri. And 2 years later, I went in as a storm chaser. I had my camera and the raincoat and the umbrella and everything, and ran in and I said, "Get under your desk, get under your desk. There's a storm coming." Well, the kids did. It terrified them. It was awful. They got under there, and the teacher's like, "Oh, no, no, we're really okay."
Oh no.
And I'm like, "We're brainstorming, we're brainstorming." And it took a little bit to
Oh.
calm them down and talk about doing brainstorming. And it was a cloudy day that day, so yeah, timing.
So there's always a teaching objectives. So I'm curious what made you decide to turn that character into a book character? And then how did you kind of shift mediums with that character? Like how the book is different from what you were doing in those classes, but also maybe how they're similar. Because I imagine they also have a teaching objective in the books.
Well, growing up great with Groovy Granny has has unforgiveness and being content, and has honesty, and has all those emotional concepts in it. And I wrote that book right after I found out I was going to have a grandchild, and we had two in the same year. My oldest and second oldest both had kiddos, and my grandmothers died young. I had one that died when I was 6 and one that died when I was 8. And there's a lot that I can still remember about them, but there's a lot I don't remember about them. And so I wanted to give them a book where they would know who I was. And so I put their names in there, made those little characters, and walking into my house and what was in my house, and how did I feel about certain things, and the fun areas in the house. There's one place where it's in the attic, and that's where I keep all the costumes and the puppet stages, and that's all who I was. And I wanted them to be able to see that if I was gone. And so that's why I took all those years of being on stage and going to church camps and going to um, fine arts weeks, and teaching about puppetry and teaching about the stage to come into my stories. So that's why the puppets are in my book as well, so that they could see all of that. And then taking that into all the characters that I had been. That's why it's progressed into putting out the second book, Groovy Granny and the Food Fight, where I deal with food allergies, and I deal with my grandkids, and my kids have had them, the food sensitivities. Lactose has been a big one. And then taking that into what I can do to take it into the classroom where I actually dress up. And the last one that I did with my illustrator, and she is an award-winning art teacher and artist. And so we showed the process of getting published, and doing it more independently, and doing it through Amazon, and then having our books in the school libraries, because I'm a library kid from way back. Before there was Amazon, we went to the library. And
Oh,
so that's what I wanted my kids to know.
I wanted to talk about those allergies for a second. So, Emily, on a previous episode, it's not an allergy, but I had tried to force marshmallows on you right after you were diagnosed with gestational diabetes. Here, have some marshmallows. Well, at Bob and Margie's wedding reenactment. I'm like, here, Sheila, I brought you a piece of wedding cake because I
Oh
went up to
no.
and got the wedding cake. She's like, thanks, I can't have it. So I guess that's my thing where I try to force things on people that they don't want to have. Um, I say all that to ask you, what is there's micro and macro objectives. I know that that book, one of the objectives is it's to normalize these food allergies. It's okay, you have them. Everyone has something. But what are some of the micro objectives? Are like what do you want beyond that? Beyond what I just said, what do you want the children and the parents? I don't know to change. I don't want to say change. I don't know. Answer my question
But
before I
actually, it's
finish it.
just to bring awareness. Okay,
So it's
so
awareness,
food allergies are not tangible. You can't see, taste, smell, hear.
right?
You can experience it. And most times you don't want to experience it. But I needed something for medical professionals, teachers, and parents to be able to say, is this how you feel? So in the book, not only do I have the story, the battle against it, and what the different foods that cause the different body systemic reactions, but I have a rap sheet in the back that says, this is the gluten allergy. It hangs out with the lactose. El fuego is the lactose. And because el fuego, which means fire, that's what it does. It affects the hypothalamus in my brain. And so the hypothalamus is your emotional and rage control center. And there's something in it, in the lactose, in the way that it's processed, that is an irritant to the point that it changes my emotion. I was always hot-headed, quick-tempered, mad. And it wasn't because of my Irish and French roots. It was because I had this issue. And so when I got off that, I haven't had the temper issues. I don't get the headaches that I was getting. And so to be able to bring that to teachers and say, okay, for instance, my granddaughter came up to my son and 30 minutes after she had breakfast and said, Daddy, my tummy hurts. And he said, you're not hungry. You just ate. You just had breakfast. You had a bowl of cereal with milk on it. And I was staying there and I was helping babysit because Mama was on a trip. And I said, excuse me, her stomach hurts because she just had milk. I just knew. I mean, I'd been around it long enough. I'd experienced it long enough. And so he got to watching her and we went and got the lactate milk and next day and 30 minutes after, no stomach ache. Just because they say they have a stomach ache does not mean they're hungry. It means it's an issue.
And that's kind of where I was going with that. I mean, so that is awareness, but there's a micro aspect to it, aspect of it where it does change behavior. I mean, awareness is the first step, but then with each one, oh, this is what's changing my mood, or oh, this is why I have this burning sensation, or oh, this is why I have the stomach ache, and so it changes behavior of the child and of the adult.
Right. Yeah, it does. And it's ageless. It does not matter how old or how young. My youngest granddaughter, when her mom, after she was born, her mama nursed her, and anytime her mom would have ice cream, the baby would get a stomach ache. She's that sensitive. And some kids, as they get older, they outgrow it, but not always. I obviously did not. Now that I'm old, as of yesterday, so
Happy
my
birthday!
Yay! Aw.
March 17th, one of my favorite birthdays. Happy
Aw.
birthday. March 17th and 18th.
But yeah, I had to create something that was tangible so that the kids could see it, so they could and put a name to it and understand what was happening to their bodies.
And they will among just like how you said, oh, she just drank milk, duh. They will
Yeah.
amongst their peers do that. So
Yeah.
because they read the book and they'll see the rap sheet at the end or at the back of it.
Well, it's already been used in 3 or 4 of the schools around here. There was one little girl who would just have a meltdown after lunch. They'd come in after recess, and she just couldn't get a grip. Well, come to find out, she was having a dual reaction. One was lactose with a headache, and the other was the gluten, and that was a stomach issue. And she wasn't just having an emotional upset, I'm not getting my way. She's having a physical reaction to
Right.
something she consumed.
Mm,
Pizza day was the worst. And the
mm.
teachers, my illustrator that works there, started watching her making and not, keeping just a little list of, okay, what was for lunch today? How's she reacting to lunch today? What did she eat today? And finding that, and then, trying to help the parent understand this is what's going on. And that's really a hurdle right there because it's not common enough.
This is reminding me of our conversation with H. Rune that like just happened. We were talking about like the entrepreneurial mindset and looking for she said see a need, fill a need. And that's like what you are doing with all of those aspects that you talked about from the very beginning of our recording. Everything you're doing is see a need, fill a need, but you're using your unique gifts to see to them. So there's so many ways you can teach people about food allergies, but you have the gift of storytelling. And so you're able to use that method to teach. I think that's wonderful.
Thanks. It's my favorite thing to do.
When I was gonna talk about you in the third person to Emily, like you weren't sitting there. When you, I say when you were saying all like, and I've got this closet full of costumes, and I have all these puppets, and all of, the stages and the curtain. It seemed like so much, and then where a podcast is a microphone and a laptop, and but it just seemed like so much to take uh control of, or just so much to have to navigate. And so when Emily just said that about gifts, there are some people who would go and just go, yeah, that's just too much. I'm going to stick with the laptop and the microphone. But then there's other people, your gifts, you're suited to that, I don't know, inventory prop maintenance. And each character has its own thing, and each character has its own vibe, and each of the puppets has its own vibe. That's a special gift that not everyone has. However, there's also it seems I'm stuck. I'm a broken record. I'm stuck on this. It seems like the ticket to entry there, it seems like how when smaller Emily first got to come out of how did you call it? Well, her shyness with the puppet up above. So that's like an attainable entry gateway, and it seems like I'm just repeating myself now. It seems like you're gifted at bringing that out of people, and it seems like that you could bring it out of so many people if you would turn that podcast on.
Oh, that sounds like a challenge.
People sitting in Maine and in California and who never heard of Groovy Granny.
Well, that's part of what I want to do with the podcast, and that's why I wanted to do it on YouTube as well, so that they could see the character and the puppets and the costumes, and whether it's reading the story or talking about the food allergies.
Yeah, that's
Just
great.
make it come alive.
What's one of the most extreme food allergy stories you know?
Well, it's a friend of ours, Renee. If she gets garlic, her eyes swell shut.
Oh
I
my
mean,
goodness.
Renee Gutteridge. We didn't know that.
yeah.
Oh, don't make
So
garlic
she has to
for
be
me.
careful. Mm-hmm.
Man, I use so much garlic.
Yeah, Yeah.
Oh,
And there's another lady that I met, that pepper, just black pepper, and that's everywhere. It can be airborne, it can be on the food. So how would you go into somebody's home or a restaurant even?
wow.
So I had a girlfriend with black pepper allergies, and it's like even in like chicken breading, it's just I mean it's
Yeah,
everywhere. So
yeah, anything with breading. And then we were out to eat, and she asked them to clean the grill, and they, oh yeah, we'll clean it. It'll be perfect. It wasn't enough. She still had a reaction.
Hmm. That'd be frustrating.
what's a
So
call
there's
to action you have, Sheila, for our peoples, for our
uh,
viewers, for your future viewers?
for my future viewers, yeah, we'll call it Groovy Granny Story Corner. How's that?
Okay.
Yes.
So you have to keep an eye out for that. I have a website at sheilagunlock.com, and I put all the new things that are up and coming. My books are on Amazon. You can get them in the Kindle version, or you can get them in paperback version. Um, and then I do have a YouTube channel if you want to see me at my best or worst. Some of my costumes.
I have a challenge. I don't think I've ever done this. I have a call to action
Oh,
for the viewers based on Sheila's Irv. What's the age range of the plays?
The
Like
plays are elementary
so elementary. All right.
because they're targeted at K through fifth grade because that's usually Vacation Bible School ages.
I want every person watching. Here's your call to action. I want every person watching with an elementary age kid to I'd love for them to buy your play, but even if they don't, to take the screen capture of it from Amazon and take it to that fifth grade teacher or that third grade teacher or fourth grade teacher for next year and say, consider this. I'm not saying go in there, you got to sell it to them, right? I'm just saying, hey, this is really important. I think that you should consider this. And it takes all the intimidation, takes all the fear out of it. Just like, here's 3 to pick from. This one really spoke to me. Consider this. I think they'd appreciate that. I need to go have a kid just so I can do that.
Go talk to a teacher. That'd be easier.
Okay.
so listeners, let us know if you do that. And then also, can I add on to it? Am I allowed to do that?
Yeah.
I want to
Of
know
course.
what drives them.
Oh
If they
yeah.
could narrow it down, is it helping people? Uh, is it like, and specifically, like, how do you want to help people? If that's your answer, why can't I think of other reasons to be motivated?
That's it.
We talked
That's
so
why
much
we're
about
put on
helping
earth
people, but
is
it's like
that's why
that's.
we're to put on earth is to serve others. So you can't think of anything else.
But I want to know what drives you all specifically and what you're doing about it and different ways you're doing that. And you all can respond in the show notes of this episode at writebettertogether.com/podcast. You can respond on social media on Facebook, Instagram, or X when we share this episode. Or you can respond in the YouTube comments.
Am I allowed to add on to your add-on? Of the add-on?
Yeah.
Do we have a guest today? No. I want to add on to that. How you felt. Say yours again. It came when you said it.
What drives
Your
you?
add-on. Yeah, your what drives you. How you felt uh when you realized that was the thing that drove you and oh, that's what drives me, because a lot of people don't know. We've seen people, 40 and 50-year-old people, who don't know until they take the time to think about it. So I want to know how they felt about it, and I also want to know, and add on to the add-on, how, like, when I just made the challenge, go take this to Bobby's third grade teacher, right? There's some people like, I'm on it, and there's other people like, I can't talk to the third grade teacher. I want to know who I want to know who amongst us are in the first group and who amongst us are in the second group. Like, it's no skin off my back to go talk to a teacher, and then someone else is like, oh, that's the teacher's job. I can't do that. I wonder how many people are in the one camp and then in the other. You want to say anything, Sheila? We've been talking for 5 minutes now without you.
And we'll have all of those links that you mentioned in the show notes as well, wherever y'all are listening.
You did it, Sheila. You made it.
Did it. Thank you
through
so
the
much.
entire episode.
Sure.
That was so inspiring.
And so what's the new podcast called?
Groovy Granny Story Corner.
And that premieres Tuesday, March what?
Just updated.
We'll aim for April 1st. How's that? No fooling.
April 1st.
Ooh.
Oh, that's great.
That is great. Let us know and we'll share it.
Okay.
Thank you, Sheila.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
And we're back. That's amazing. You know, all right, so we're kind of friends. We're all friends here, right? She's very confident when she's talking about her content and her topics, but then she says she's introvert. It's this weird combination of she's confident, but then there's certain, like, maybe it's that, well, we talked about it in that interview y'all just watched, the perfectionism thing. It's interesting.
I guess I see introversion as more of your energy level, like tolerance for being around other people rather than like your ability to talk to other people. Because like
True.
I've known, like I'm super introverted in that if you put me in front of, like, in a room with a bunch of people, I'm gonna need a break and probably not want to do anything for the next couple days. But while I'm there, I can, speak to people and be friendly and, do all the things.
I saw you do 8 of those things in a period of 3 days at Writer
Yeah,
Con.
and every once in a while I did disappear.
No, you disappeared immediately.
Especially like if I had the chance, it's like I'm gonna go sit outside and just kind of decompress for a little bit.
And then the other thing I was gonna say was that I got to be like K-Mod. I inspired her to do something. I changed her life. Watch out. I'm catching up, Modulin. Catching up with you. I inspired one person. No. You and I, we inspire students all the time. Every day. Piece of cake.
Do you want to be inspired by some pigeons? Hey, John Myers.
Pigeons?
What would be so inspiring about pigeons?
They carry notes from place to place. You can put one, you can give one. You can go, hey pigeon, come on over here. You can hand him a note in Detroit and he'll take the note to Milwaukee.
Yeah, why don't we do that anymore?
I think they do.
What?
I think people still do that.
I know some people breed them for like stuff like that, and it's wild. That's actually not what I'm talking about, but it's a good point. Yeah. Pigeons are very diverse in their abilities.
Hunter, who just got married, her husband now, he at the school, he was biology dude, and he studied those pigeons.
Yeah.
Carrier pigeons. All right, go ahead.
So speaking of biological applications,
yes,
what could a pigeon help with? Let me rephrase the question. How can a pigeon help with cancer?
So I knew you were going to say medical. I literally knew you were going to say medical. So fun fact. No, not fun fact. True fact. They use the pigeons just like leeches. You know how leeches need leeches to suck blood, to get blood flowing? They use the pigeons to pick at the cancer.
Oh, you're just coming up with something. Okay. I thought you like had a for real fact just
that
now.
I presented it as a real fact.
I was like, until you said the end, and I was like, wait, no. But you're actually not too far off.
I know my pigeons.
They have trained pigeons to identify cancer in images,
Oh.
like microscopic images.
Oh. Do they wear lab coats? Do they wear
I
little
hope
pigeon lab
so.
coats?
This is what's fascinating to me. It says that so over 50 it says this is what it says. Over 15 training days, the birds were able to tell the difference, even with images they hadn't seen before, of healthy versus non-healthy cells. The pigeons showed remarkable success getting the right answer 85% of the time.
Holy moly.
But when they worked together, like if you had, they called it flock sourcing, they were, their accuracy rose to 99%, which was comparable to trained human doctors.
Sorry. Sorry, Doc. We have to let you go. You've been replaced by a bird.
So,
So,
go ahead.
you know that scripture that says if, if God will take care of those worthless birds who contribute nothing to society, how much more will he do for you?
Yeah.
That's my version of it.
Yeah, yeah.
So those pigeons aren't worthless. They actually do carry work into the barn. They actually do
They're doing
contribute.
great. I mean, it does say, they do make errors, but so does everybody. It looks like they're still working on it. It actually says, to answer your question, you're not likely to see a pigeon in a lab coat anytime soon.
Oh, I predicted the
But
question.
here's what's another thing that's interesting is why they're so good at it
Yes.
is because it's a survival instinct that they're just built to survive, and to be fast and like to see things clearly. So their field of vision is 340 degrees, and it can also process visual information 3 times faster than a human's. So if it says if a pigeon watched a feature film, 24 frames per second would appear to it like a slide presentation. They would
Oh,
need at least 75 frames per second to create the illusion of movement on a screen. And it says this is why, like, if you're driving towards a pigeon, it seems like they wait until the very last second to fly away because to them, you're moving very slowly.
wow. Hey,
Yeah.
watch me tie something together. So the 340-degree thing, is their head on a swivel or is their eyes move while their head stays solid?
Sorry, it is because their heads can move. It's because their eyes are on the side of their head and because their heads have a wide range of movement.
So that phrase, head on a swivel, they're always
Yeah.
looking out for. What are they always looking out for? You said it in the episode earlier.
See a need? Fill a
Yeah.
need?
See a need, fill a need.
Yep.
That's head on a swivel, man.
Perfect. All from the Robots movie. Thank you, robots. Um, one more thing, pigeons can also be therapy pets because
Oh, okay.
they're very docile, they're very sweet, they love to cuddle, and so some people are raising them to be therapy pets, which is really sweet.
Are they? I know they coo. How compare their cooing to your doves? Louder,
Very
softer, more frequent, less frequent.
I mean, I'm just thinking of the pigeons I've heard on the street that,
Mhm.
like, they're pretty loud. I would say they're probably louder because 'cause they're bigger. They're, like, twice the size of mine.
Oh,
So,
interesting.
but people I mean, people say they're really, really sweet little pets, so,
I love that.
yep, there you go.
Very cool.
So, if you all want to learn more about pigeons, you can subscribe to our podcast
That's all
wherever
we have for the next 4 episodes. It's pigeon talk.
you can subscribe wherever you're listening, and we would also love if you would write us a review to help other people find us if you're getting something out of the podcast, or if you're not getting something out of the podcast. Just
We don't
kidding.
want to hear that. We don't want
Um,
to hear from you.
you can also subscribe to our newsletter at writebettertogether.com. Just scroll to the bottom of the page, sign up, and you will receive updates whenever we have new episodes or webinars or workshops or any other updates. Our subscribers also get special deals sometimes. And then
Make that face again, the deals face.
and then you can also join our Patreon to get bonus content from every episode. So we've got 52 episodes now. That's 52 bonus content. They're not all there yet. We're releasing them every Thursday for
Um,
as little as $2 a month. You can see all of that.
When I said that little face that you made thing, so I on my trip for part of the trip I was in a car with a person, and so had on Carvey and Spade, and their rapport back and forth, and they're just doing what we're doing right now, and she says Emily and John Myers are just as good as Spade and Carvey on the banter, and I said thank you because they just won the iHeartRadio podcast comedy podcast of the year, and we are
Oh,
just as good.
oh, good for them. That's great.
The other thing, if they subscribe, they will find out that this poor baby right here, this is one that actually can impact your life because this could
Whoa.
actually happen. The dog was in the way while he was trying to push the chair. Poor dog.
Oh,
Poor
that dog does
baby.
not care. That's so funny.
Nope. So that could tell Winnie, look out.
Yeah. Winnie would move for sure.
Yes.
Well, that means that it's time for the final act.
And I wanted to play Wake the Baby again. I wanted to wake up the baby again, speaking of babies, but we're not going to. Because first let me tell no. What do I want to tell you first? Normally I say the prize first, but I want to tell you the prize first. You will be playing, you ready? Lying or Lying.
Oh no.
Oh.
The one grammar thing that I actually struggle with.
Well, that's interesting. I didn't know that. And there will be 3 instances of, since remember last week was sleep week and I came out as someone who telling you the importance of sleep, because we all know that I am the number one sleep advocate. This is the number one podcast where I advocate for your sleep on the internet. And so you will see 3 pictures of me, and you have to see if I'm lying, like lying prone, or if I'm lying straight up and down. So I'm either lying or I'm lying about lying. Got it?
Oh my goodness. Okay, I'm ready.
All right. So if you get one right, you win this book, Lying.
Oh wow.
Did you read this book? Were you in Rigby's class where we read this book?
No.
Okay. This
Is it
is
memoir?
yeah, I should have brought
different.
it. I should have brought it up last week.
Yeah, we
because
were in different memoir sessions.
Right. I should have brought it up last week because the Lying by Lauren Slater is, there's lies. She starts out by saying, here, I'll just read the cover. There's only one kind of memoir I can see to write, and it's a slippery, playful, impish, exasperating text shaped, if it could be, like a question mark. She does not guarantee that the things in this memoir are true. So
Wow.
it's a memoirish piece of fiction, just like H.H. Roone had. Well, they're not the same at all, but and this is not a family friendly book, so don't read it in front of your kids. But chapter 1, I exaggerate.
That's great.
That's the entire chapter. So, Lying. Number 2, if you get 2 right, you get the Lying book and you get a square donut from Family Express that you can't have because of your gestational diabetes. Last but not least, look what I found when I was packing for my trip. These are the pivot points from
Oh.
from something that I did, some session that I did, and you collected them. And I will offer you this one pivot point. When my future husband called and asked me out, I had no idea who he was, but I said yes anyway and wound up talking to him. There you go. She married a guy. She didn't even know who. It was a wrong number or something. Do you remember that story?
I do, yeah.
Yeah, you do.
It's funny.
So look, I got a bunch of them, man. So that's 3. That's 3 for 3. All right, now I'm gonna have to share screen. All right, and we're back. There I am, sleeping or not sleeping, I don't know, but I am either laying or I'm lying. Which one is it, Emily?
I feel like it's a trick because
Yes.
that is either a very smooth mattress or it's a wall.
Or it's a headboard. Ah. I don't know. I don't know what
I
it is.
think it's a trick. I'm gonna say that you are lying.
I am lying. Let's see if you're correct. Wah, wah, wah. It was
Aha!
a wall.
I was correct.
I was lying. That's one. So you've won the book lying. Good job.
Yay!
Number 2 for the donut that you can't have.
This is hilarious.
Laying or lying?
I think this would be really impressive if you were lying. I think you are actually laying because it looks like you've got your like tucked into a bed.
Oh, you're pretty. I think you're a detective or something. All right,
Just
here we go.
explaining my answers to the people who can't see.
Here we go. Nee, 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 nee. You were correct.
It's a real bed.
I
Yep.
was tucked into a real bed.
I don't know how you could have pulled that off otherwise.
And now, so you won the donut. Don't eat it.
Yay.
And now you get to win some woman's pivot point. Here we go. Here he is. Oh,
Ooh.
look at him sleeping.
There's a pillow this time, I think, or maybe,
There was a pillow all 3 times.
but there's no red comforter. It looks like the wall again. I'm gonna say you are lying.
Well, it is not a wall.
Oh.
It's a door.
And does the door push or pull?
The
That is
I
the
don't know. Is the door push or pull?
I'm gonna find ways to use that picture.
Oh, great. Um, is it push or pull? Is the door push or pull?
I think it looks like a push.
You are correct. It's a push. So good job. You won all 3 prizes. You win
Yay.
the pivot point. What a wonderful thing. Now I'm going to teach you a lesson. Do you see what's on that sheet?
I was actually gonna ask you what's on the sheet.
Wait, let me stop sharing. Do you see? So you can't tell?
Can you like zoom in on it?
Maybe. Yeah, I can.
Whoa. Looks like people playing in snow or something. Bears?
They are bears. Very good. And they're skiing and they're building a campfire. And
Oh.
so here, hold on. Let me stop sharing and I can see you again. And so that is my favorite sheet. That's my bear sheet. Do you know any Hebrew?
Like maybe like 3 words.
Do you know bear sheet?
No. Oh, that sounds really familiar. I'm not gonna try to guess. What is it?
As the owner of a bear sheet, I will teach you the word bear sheet. It's here's a clue. It's the first word in the Torah, first word in the Old Testament.
Oh, in the beginning?
Yeah,
Beginning?
it means in the beginning.
Oh,
Very
wow.
good.
There
There you
you
go. So
go.
you said you know 3 words. Well, that was 3 words in the beginning. Yep. So whenever I have
Awesome.
that sheet, whenever I sleep with that sheet, then I think of the beginning of the Bible.
That's amazing.
There you go.
There you go.
Everything's all tied together.
Speaking of which,
Yes.
we couldn't
Couldn't
have done it
done it
without
without you.
you. I love the bear sheet. That's great.